The Nigerian political landscape is currently buzzing with intense debates and shocking revelations as we dive deeper into the complex political maneuverings ahead of the 2027 general elections. Just when you thought the dust from the previous presidential elections had finally settled, the fiercely outspoken human rights activist and former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, has dropped a massive bombshell that is shaking the very foundations of the Nigerian opposition movement. In a series of recent, highly explosive interviews and public statements made this year, 2026, Sowore has openly declared exactly why he believes the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, deliberately refused to truly fight President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the absolute control of the presidency. This isn't just about the courtroom battles or the election tribunals that dominated the news a couple of years ago. This is about a deep, fundamental ideological alignment that Sowore claims exists between the so-called opposition and the current ruling party. According to Sowore, the bitter truth that many passionate supporters of the Obidient movement are failing to realize is that Peter Obi and Bola Tinubu are essentially cut from the exact same political and economic cloth. Sowore heavily argues that when you strip away the social media hype, the massive rallies, and the carefully crafted public images, both men belong to the same elite, capitalist, and neoliberal establishment that has completely controlled Nigeria for decades. He insists that Obi never actually intended to dismantle the system that brought Tinubu to power because Obi himself is a massive beneficiary of that very same system. To fully understand Sowore's explosive claims, we have to look back at the core economic policies that defined the campaign trail and continue to deeply define the current administration in 2026. Remember when the absolute removal of the fuel subsidy and the floating of the naira became the defining moments of the new government, causing a massive spike in the cost of living and pushing inflation to unprecedented levels? Well, Sowore is quickly reminding Nigerians that Peter Obi explicitly stated during his campaign that he would have taken the exact same actions regarding the subsidy. Obi might have smoothly argued that he would have implemented these harsh economic realities differently or with more compassion for the masses, but the fundamental neoliberal blueprint was completely identical. Sowore points out that you cannot effectively fight a man when you share his most basic economic philosophy. He argues that Obi's supposed refusal to fight Tinubu tooth and nail was not a sign of political weakness, but rather a silent, mutual agreement on how the Nigerian economy should be run, prioritizing big business, foreign investments, and capitalist frameworks over the immediate welfare of the ordinary Nigerian worker. This is exactly why Sowore completely dismisses the Labour Party as nothing more than a temporary, opportunistic vehicle, something he famously referred to as a short rental during a recent media appearance on the popular television program Inside Sources. He boldly claims that Obi merely rented the Labour Party to achieve his personal presidential ambitions, completely abandoning the true pro-worker socialist ideologies that a genuine, authentic labor movement is supposed to represent. If you are genuinely enjoying this deep dive into the complex, often shadowy world of Nigerian politics and want to ensure you never miss out on these crucial, eye-opening updates, please take a quick moment right now to completely smash that like button and actively subscribe to the channel. Hitting the subscribe button and immediately turning on your notification bell directly helps this community grow and ensures that the YouTube algorithm continuously pushes this vital, factual information to more Nigerians across the globe who desperately need to hear the unvarnished truth about our political leaders and their hidden agendas. Your continuous support is exactly what keeps us going, allowing our team to dig deeper, constantly ask the tough questions, and bring you the most accurate, thought-provoking political analysis every single day without fear or favor. Returning directly to Sowore's intense, uncompromising critique, it becomes increasingly clear to any political observer that his specific vision for the future of Nigeria is fundamentally opposed to the kind of polite, gentle, reformist politics heavily championed by Peter Obi. Sowore is aggressively pushing the strong narrative that Nigeria absolutely does not need a gentle reformer who just wants to slightly tweak a completely broken, dysfunctional system. The country desperately needs a radical, unapologetic revolutionary who is entirely willing to tear down the corrupt, rotten structures of the past and build a completely new, equitable society that truly serves the struggling masses. He constantly uses the current harsh economic realities of 2026, where food inflation continues to bite incredibly hard, electricity tariffs have skyrocketed, and the daily cost of living remains a massive, crushing burden for the average working family, as absolute proof that the neoliberal economic policies championed by both the ruling party and the mainstream opposition are a total, unmitigated failure. Sowore is actively challenging the dynamic youth, the university students, and the everyday hard-working market women to wake up from the grand illusion that simply swapping one billionaire capitalist politician for another billionaire capitalist politician will somehow magically solve the nation's deeply rooted historical problems. He proudly points to his own long, documented history of fearless street protests, his numerous unjust arrests by state security forces, and his unwavering, consistent demand for true social justice as the absolute mark of a leader who is genuinely willing to fight the powerful establishment. In sharp contrast, he vividly paints Obi as a cautious, highly calculated businessman who carefully weighs all his political moves based on personal profit and loss, rather than a passionate, fearless liberator willing to risk his own comfort and freedom for the ultimate liberation of his people. Sowore also directly addresses the intense, undeniable loyalty of the massive Obidient movement, openly acknowledging their incredible passion and their deep desire for a better country, but sharply criticizing their overall political direction. He strongly suggests that this massive, unprecedented wave of youth energy and frustration was cleverly hijacked by a political opportunist who completely neutralized their raw revolutionary potential. Instead of actively leading a massive, unstoppable grassroots movement for total, uncompromising systemic change, Sowore heavily argues that Obi simply pacified his millions of supporters, constantly telling them to blindly trust in the very same courts, electoral commissions, and state institutions that have repeatedly, historically failed the Nigerian people time and time again. By doing so, Sowore claims Obi effectively acted as a highly convenient safety valve for the ruling elite, completely preventing a genuine, explosive popular uprising by cleverly channeling the people's righteous anger into a safe, easily controllable, and ultimately entirely unsuccessful legal process. This deliberate pacification, according to Sowore's fiery rhetoric, is the ultimate political betrayal and the real reason why Peter Obi never truly fought Bola Tinubu when it mattered the most. They are, in his unwavering view, two sides of the exact same political coin, maintaining the grand illusion of a functioning democracy while working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that the immense wealth, natural resources, and ultimate power of the nation remain firmly and permanently concentrated in the hands of a select, privileged few. As we look ahead to the monumental battles of 2027, Sowore's message to the Nigerian electorate is loud, clear, and totally uncompromising. He insists that genuine, lasting change will never come through the endless recycling of old, tired politicians dressed up in brand new political parties, nor will it ever come from soft-spoken billionaires who completely refuse to challenge the fundamental underlying injustices of the Nigerian capitalist system. True, undeniable change, he passionately insists, will only arrive when the ordinary Nigerian people finally reject the entire corrupt political establishment in its totality and forcefully demand a total revolutionary transformation of their beloved country.
The political battle lines for the next general election are already being drawn with intense ferocity, not just between different political parties scrambling for votes, but between fundamentally opposed visions for the very soul and future of Nigeria. Will the frustrated, exhausted people continue to place their fleeting hope in the familiar, wealthy faces of the political elite who offer nothing but empty promises of gradual reform? Or will they finally heed Sowore's urgent, radical call for a complete departure from the destructive status quo that has held the giant of Africa back for so many decades?